Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream so I can see it while I'm using it. I think we're good to go. Right, I'm going to work through the checklist that I have previously prepared. So, like, here's one I made earlier in true children's television fashion. So, let's go and jump inside the airplane and start working around the checklist. So, first of all, we're going to go overhead and go and turn the batteries on. And before we do anything else, I just want to check the volume levels. I'm going to leave it on 100% while we're in the cockpit so you get to hear everything. We've got external power available, so we'll switch on the external power. And we're going to arm the emergency lights. Or emergency power, I should say. And then the IRS section. So you should see, if I scroll further up as I turn this on. Yeah, so the cargo fire test went off when we switched on the first nav system. Okay, so then we go back down to the pedestal. I'm following a checklist, so any pauses while I'm doing this, it's me reading. So we uncage the standby attitude indicator. So we hold the button down on it and let it wobble around. There we go. Okay, so standby attitude indicator is done. We'll go and calibrate the altimeter. That's just done. Okay, so over to the flight plan. We're going to use a Simbrief flight plan. I've not used one yet, so I have no idea what this is going to even show us. So we can send the flight plan to the FMC. That's rather clever, isn't it? So let's try all these automations out. So flight plan has been sent to the FMC. It's not actually running yet, though, I don't think. So set payload and fuel. That's really clever as well. View departure airport charts. So do we have... You're not currently signed in. This doesn't seem to be remembering Navigraph logins. So I'm just going to go and check this with my mobile phone. Sign in. I'm just sorting this out on my mobile to approve the integration with Navigraph. There we go. So we are going to be doing the, let's have a look at Navigraph. The Tippen 3 departure on 02 right. So there it is. So it's basically take off going this way and then turn around and fly towards Rory. So we'll let the airplane see. We'll see what the airplane does. Okay, we're back in the airplane. So if we go and work through these pages, if we go and look on payload, that's already been done. And then go to the performance tab, and we can. Oh, interesting. So it's already put in the ICAO code for the departure airport, so we can go and get the weather information. Gives us a headwind of 3 knots. So then we can populate the takeoff weight automatically. We can say PAX on, and we can calculate the V-speeds and flaps and flex, which is good. Okay, so then we go over to the FMC, go to FMC1, go to flight plan initialization. So it's already got the from and to. Where would we go as an alternate if we couldn't get KJAX? Let's go and change the weather and put this on auto IFR now. And switch that approach chart off. So if we couldn't get into KJAX, where would we go? Maybe KMCO. Flight number 123. I'm just filling these in with any odd numbers. Let's go and have a look at this That's an interesting point, actually. I was going to look at Navigraph to look at the operational flight plan. Let's just go over to the tablet and see if we've got the OFP over here. I don't think they've given you it, have they? They've got the charts there. Or does that include the OFP? I don't think it does. They've missed a trick there, haven't they? Or is it here? View arrival, view departure, reload flight plan. So they don't let you see the they've dropped the ball there, haven't they? Anyway, I'll stop complaining. Honest. We wanted to look at Simbrief, didn't we? So what altitude are we flying at? 39,000 feet. Oh, blimey. Not been anything like that high in this aeroplane. Well, I've not done a complete flight in it. So 390. Cost index was... Where's the CI number? CI 105. Oh, crikey, we really are going to use some fuel up. Okay, so then next page. And we can pre-populate all these numbers from the aircraft. And clear that. And go next page. Don't think we need to do anything here. No, we don't need to. We can go and do the takeoff parameters, can't we? So if we go and have a look, go back to the performance calculator. Flaps 25, flex 59. So flex 59, flaps 25, and then the V speeds were 131, 131, 151, 131, 131, 151. Slope and wind. So we got slope of 0, wind of headwind of 3. So 0/3. 0/3. And then outside air temperature was 29 centigrade. Okay, so if we go and look in the flight plan now, let's go and see. So it's got KBNA over to Brixton. So if we go in here, choose the SID. So we're taking off as 02 right, wasn't it? So 02 right, Tippen 3 to Brixton. So 02 right and Tippen 3 with the Brixton transition. Insert. Okay, and then at the other end, there's KJAX. So good to start. We're doing runway 26, the Odia 1 arrival, and the Dutchy transition, and ILS 26. Yeah, so okay. Let's go and have a look at that then. So ILS, actually if we select ODO 1 it should filter that, shouldn't it? Or maybe not. So there's Dutchy. And then ILS for 26. Now we're going to go for the Zulu one because it gives us a longer run in. And which one was it? ILS Zulu, and yeah, that's just fine. Okay, that's fine. So we've got everything. Insert. So let's have a scroll through. We have got a discontinuity there on before. Yeah, okay, I know where that is. So if we have a look on the chart, there's a gap here where, because it's offset here, you'd have manual navigation to fly out, continue the vector until the ATC turns you around to bring you in the real world. So we'll figure that out. We might put in this VP254 in, I guess, to square the corner off, or we'll just fly it on manual and bring it in. So we'll leave that discontinuity in place for the moment, because then it will remind us we need to deal with it on the way. We haven't done the takeoff parameters yet, have we? So let's go and do takeoff. Oh yes, we have, sorry. Tell a lie. Okay, so we'll put it back on the flight plan page, so that's done. If we press flight plan again, does it go up to the top? Runway 0. Oh, we got a vector here as well. Obviously, that's that departure. So we'll clear that one out. Oh, it's because there's a vector in front of it. It won't allow it. So we'll clear the vector. It'd be interesting to see what this does on the navigation system. So yeah, it's doing basically is immediately turning the aircraft. Interesting. We'll see how it handles that on the autopilot, because if we go and zoom in, look, that's immediately following takeoff. It's going to do a hard right turn. Okay. So we've done the FMS. So then over to the MCP, and we're going to go up to, we'll put it straight into cruise altitude, so that'll be 39. We'll use profile mode once we're in the air to manage the climb out. Heading we will set to the same direction as the departure runway, which is 20 degrees. And we can pre-select nav mode. Actually, you can't. That's an interesting point there, actually. So the reason you would pre-select this to the runway heading is when you take off, when you press the autopilot to begin with, there's going to be a couple of seconds until maybe you go and press nav or profile. So you really need the aeroplane set up, you know, to fly on the default modes before you go and change to the navigation modes. Well, that's as far as I've figured it out so far. Okay, so Alt and 8 takes us overhead, and we're going to go and carry on with doing things. So APU power goes to on, and it says avail. Then we'll come back down to here while we're waiting for it, and we'll go and configure this, the dialer flap mechanism. So we're going to select 25 degrees. And that will come into use a bit later. So if we go back overhead, have we got the APU up and running yet? No, it's still getting ready. So notice these are all saying, they're all flashing up here. That's because I've missed something down here. I did this the other day and missed it. So on the init page, I should have pressed initialize IRS. And then that will go away. So if we go and look overhead, that's all calmed down now. We've got the APU at last, hurrah! Okay, we've rotated that. So external power goes to off now. Obviously now we've got the APU, so external can come off. And we can prepare to start the engines. So further down here, we're going to go and put the seatbelt signs to on, the no smoking signs to on. We're going to go and turn the beacon light on and put the APU air on. The hydraulics, we need to go and put auxiliary pump 1 on, ready to use the nose wheel steering in a minute. So back over on the tablet now, we can go into services, we can disconnect the GPU, remove the wheel chocks. At the same point, we'll go and make sure the parking brake is on so we don't start rolling when the engines fire up. Okay, so at this point we could do a pushback. We don't need to because we're out on a parking stand in the airport. So, overhead, we go and turn on one of the ignition systems and we can fire the engines up. So, first things we're going to do is pull engine number 1 and we watch the N2 gauge for 15%. Oh, we haven't put the emergency lights on armed yet. Let's go and do that. So, just gone past 15%, so we can advance the fuel. Should we have a look outside while it's doing it? So you can see the heat coming out. Okay, so that engine started, on to the next one. So waiting for 15% on N2. few moments. And fuel. Okay, then engine number 3. Again, waiting for 15% on the N2 numbers. Move my microphone slightly so I don't breathe on it by accident and make silly noises. And fuel. We can also go and arm the spoilers. So you can see as the aircraft powers up, the various warnings are disappearing. So now we know the engines are up and running, we can remove the APU air. It may go off on its own. So you'll notice that Pack 2 will be off until we remove APU air, and then that will automatically get rerouted. So Pack 2 will be working. And then we can go and remove the APU power because, oh, it's a veil, sorry. So, it's not needed anymore, and the aircraft realizes that, which is good. Okay, set flaps for takeoff. So, if we go down and look down here, all I'm going to do is move the flap lever 1 notch, and it will go to the dialer flap setting on its own. We need to arm the auto brakes. So we'll go and put those to takeoff. And we need to check the stabilator setting, so it's highlighted over here. So we're going to use the trim to move the arrow into the middle. You can actually look up the exact setting it should be on. If you look on the takeoff data, it gives you a stab 5 there. So we're on 4.7, a little bit more then. So stab 5.0. All that means is that the aircraft will be in equilibrium as we race off down the runway. Okay. So we're going to look overhead and put the parking nose light to taxi. So the middle setting here. And release those parking brakes. Before we do that, let's go and have a look at our route to the runway. So we're parked. We'll take Juliet and then the hotel taxiway to 2 right. Okay, so immediately left and then right. Can we actually get to that left? This diagram isn't great, is it? So we might have to go and double back. So, how strange. We'll try and make this left turn. So let's put this on a decent screen while we're doing this. Maybe I should put the head tracking on at this point. So, parking brake off, head tracking on, and we're moving. It's pretty good at turning, I have to say. Where can you get this plane? You can buy it from the TFDi Designs website, directly from them. It's a bit of a monster. So if we have a look outside at it, obviously you can see I've just got the factory livery from TFDi Designs, but there's lots and lots of liveries available for it in various airlines that flew MD-11s. So we're going left here, and then left again, wasn't it? Oh no, right. So when we get to the end of here, we go right. So we're going down there. Whoa, wheel brakes. It's easy to forget just how heavy this thing is. Okay, so Sean's saying you're looking for something like this on the marketplace. I don't know if you'll find anything like this on the marketplace. The closest thing you'll find to it, yeah, it's not on the marketplace though. I was going to say the PMDG 777 is similar. But again, you have to get that PMDG at the moment. I don't think it's in the marketplace yet. The Leonardo MD-80 family are very similar to this. Well, same family of aircraft. This is obviously more modern though. But again, they are installers that you buy it from Leonardo themselves. Or it might be available from some of the online stores like Sim Market, actually, thinking about it. But I bought this directly from TFDi Designs. So someone's asking, how is it compared with the PMDG MD-11? I don't know. I didn't know PMDG made an MD-11, so it gives away my lack of knowledge about this. I'm going to go for the far entry point. I want as much runway as I can get because I just don't have the experience with this aeroplane yet. I mean, I expect we'll be fine, but I'm not going to tempt fate. Jacob says thanks for the informative videos. No, you're welcome. All I'm really doing is sharing things as I learn them, because obviously I'm not a professional pilot, so this is just me being fascinated with how these various big aeroplanes work and sharing it with everybody, sharing what I learn as I learn it. You also get to see the mistakes, and you see me trying to recover from them now and again, which I think is often quite, as instrumental as doing things perfectly. So I never edit mistakes out. So you can see we're going to have a little bit of a crosswind, maybe, according to the windsock. Pulled it around a little bit too quickly, so we're not on the centre line straight away, but we can correct that when we start rolling. Okay, let's just go nice and slowly so we can figure out what we're doing. Parking brake goes to on, we've done that. So landing lights go to on, so they're over here. Then on the pedestal, so we're going to rotate the the mode for TCAS to TARA now. We'll put the altitude reporting to on, and we can take off essentially. So go and remove the parking brake again. Should we put the head tracking on as well? Actually no, I'm not going to. I'm going to just move the view down a little bit. So full throttle. Let's go and arm. Oh no, it won't let us arm that yet, will it? Or will it? It should have done. There it goes. So we're a little bit fast. Whoa, it's very pitchy. So auto throttle has kicked in, so has the heading, because we armed it earlier. Even when we clicked on it, it didn't change symbology. So auto flight can come on, and it's immediately going for that left turn. Look.
Autopilot. Autopilot. Autopilot.
Oh, has the autopilot kicked in? It has, hasn't it? It can't make the turn. Whoa, what happened there? I think that was my controls throwing a fit, but we're still good. Auto throttles are working. So the autopilot kicked out there because I guess it gave up trying to make that turn. Which is quite amusing, I suppose. And it's just going to climb like crazy for the next few minutes. So yeah, you can see the nose coming up. This aircraft has a ton of extra power. Let's just keep an eye on it on the climb out. So it's made a pretty good job actually of doing that immediate strong turn. In the real world you wouldn't have done what I did, you would have made the turn manually. And you would probably have been vectored out and then, you know, instructed when to turn. So you can see the flight directors doing their job. Interesting, they're asking the aircraft to climb. Oh, I didn't put profile mode on, did I? That'll be why. Or did I? So it's trying to accelerate now. Climb thrust to 39,000 feet. So it's going for... Let's see if it affects the pitch. Yeah, it's controlling pitch on its own. So I just noticed that we hadn't pressed profile mode and it wasn't chasing the flight directors for pitch, it was chasing them for lateral positioning. Okay, so just coming up to 10,000 feet, so landing lights off. We can turn off the auto brakes now, if we can get to them. And increase the range on this. So yeah, there's obviously a lot to learn about what modes kick in automatically, which ones don't. So that was me just busy talking and forgot to go and press the profile button to kick in VNAV essentially. We've now got a long cruise ahead of us. Let's just make sure then, in this flight plan, what we're going to do when we get to the other end. So there's a vector, oh dear. So we could take over manually at that point and just fly it in. Because if you remember, if we go and look at the arrival, we're going to come down here and then we need to turn around to come into Viga. So what we could do is when we straighten up at Nomti towards Oleki, because this is vectors, we'll just set the heading mode and go out that way, and then we could use heading mode to bring it in. So we need to be 4,000 feet. Oh no, that's going that way. We need to be 4,000 feet by Nana. We can go and check the details on KJAX. So if we open the airport, elevation's 30 feet, that's what I was looking for. Okay, that's just trimming the aeroplane. That's absolutely fine. So we're at target airspeed. It's interesting that it's such a slow target airspeed. Flight plan. 310. Okay. And then up to, once we get past the speed restrictions, until we get to Brixton, and then we can accelerate up past 2,600 feet, sorry, 26,000 feet. So if we go and increase the range on this, so yeah, we can see there's Brixton coming. So it's about 50 miles out. So we're restricted to 300 knots until we get there. If you click the USB power plug, the EFP disappears. So over here. Ah, interesting. So that's good to know. Thank you very much. Yeah, because if it's got no OFP on it, it's really not worth having it there once you're flying. So what I mean by that, if anybody didn't know, is the operational flight plan, which Simbrief gives you a summarized version of it here. But sometimes it's good to see the original one. So I think, actually, if you view the PDF, do you get to see the original? Yes, there you go. That's an operational flight plan. Yeah, I'm quite shocked that they haven't integrated that into the tablet in the aircraft. So if you go and have a look.
Stabilizer motion.
This is the trim that's making that racket. The McDonnell Douglas aircraft were famous for the noisy trims. So we can see that in Nav1. Is this actually working? Let's go and press. Yeah, it's got hyphens on Nav, which means it's in selected. Also managed mode. It's almost an Airbus, isn't it? The way the symbology works. Remember, this predates the A320. So it's interesting how the different manufacturers copied each other's ideas. Obviously, this still has Boeing-style throttles. It hasn't gone to a completely electronic throttle system yet. But it has got Airbus-style buttons on the roof instead of switches. But they haven't quite decided which way round to do the status of buttons yet, which I find quite interesting. We can turn that in. Or can we turn the ignition off while we're in the air? I'm not sure that we can. It'll probably complain about it. I'll have to have a read about that. There's a very good online guide for the aeroplane, by the way. So although it doesn't come with a document to read, there's an online document, which I think is actually quite a wise choice, because then you get to update it while it's in service. But I still went and wrote my own checklist, because I find my checklists easier to use than anybody else's. If you've never seen one of my checklists, how can I show you this easily? If I go and open a browser, which we've got this one here anyway, if we go to Google Drive, and if we do a search for MD-11, these are the checklists that I write up if you've never seen one of them. So it tells you which keyboard keys to press to get into the neighbourhood of doing something, and then it tells you, for example, you know, or even in the FMC, which pages to do things in, what to press. It goes step by step through the whole thing of getting the aeroplane ready. So yeah, that's the procedures that I write up that make things easier for people to use. You can get all of them from Ko-fi.com. So if you go to Ko-fi.com/John Beckett, you will find in the shop all of the procedures I've written up, and there's all sorts of things. There's like there's a reference guide here to all of the hidden, or not hidden, but the dark corners of the FMC in the Boeing aircraft. But yeah, there's all sorts of things I've done over the last couple of years. Guides to starting just about everything in the sim that's complicated. Anyway. So we're almost at Brixton, so you should see the aircraft will suddenly accelerate a little bit more. Although it's saying that, it's already up to Mach 0.8, so it's on its way. So it came through Tippen at 310. Although saying as we're getting higher, obviously, the airspeeds are changing, so it's switching over to use Mach numbers. We haven't done the barometric pressure, have we? We're busy talking. We went whizzing through 18,000 feet. So we're now on standard barometric pressure, 2992. I haven't done a Honda jet now. I thought I'd covered the Vision. Although the Vision jet's quite simple, though, isn't it? How does the cockpit look at night? I've not tried it. Should we change the time and turn some of the lights on? So if we advance time a little bit, and we'll just make it dark for the moment. So there are a number of switches to do this. So that lights up the flood and the backlighting of those switches. There's several of them around the cockpit. So you've got another one here, you've got the briefcase light down here, you've got the floor light. Oh, you have to use the mouse wheel on it. Obviously you've got another one on the other side. If we come across here, we've got the windshield wipers, there's the wipers. You've got the flood here, which is the backlighting. Then you've got the floodlighting of them as well. But yeah, there's switches all over the place to do the lights, but thankfully they are all the same design of switch, which makes it easy to find them. It's good though, isn't it? So if we come over this side, we do the same again. So you've got the briefcase light, we've got the floor lighting. Not sure if we get anything towards the back. It's interesting, the textures on the screens are really nice. So when you get the light, you can see fingerprints and stuff. It's very cool. So if we turn the time down even more now, or make it darker outside, we'll see what this looks like in the dark. It's pretty good, isn't it? So it sounds like we have a bit of a night flying. To be honest, if I put this on real time, yeah, real time's going to be daytime in the US, isn't it? Although I'm flying this late at night in the UK, the real time and weather is middle of the afternoon, I guess, in eastern US. Okay, so let's go and increase the range. So we've got a little way to go until we get anywhere near our descent. So it's about 200 miles out. So I might go and make a coffee. What's the sound like? Have we got... Okay, see, it's quite noisy in here, isn't it? So I'm competing with the noisy background, but at least you get to hear it. Third engine. Looks good though, doesn't it? Oh, thank you very much, Patrick. So, Scott says, I'm in Ireland, so a lot of night flying when I get a chance to do flying. Yeah, same with me. Whenever I join group flights, it tends to be late at night, so I end up flying. A lot of people to go and turn their weather back to get daylight hours, but quite often if I'm doing a group flight and doing it by the book with ATC and everything, I'll just use the time, the live time, and it's usually dark and or horrendous weather. I'm going to leave those lights on in the cabin. Looks quite cool, doesn't it? So as I said, oh blimey, I'm yawning. Yeah, you can see there's my lifetime there. It's 22, or it's actually that's wrong. It's we're on +1, aren't we? So that's UTC at the top of that clock. So we're on UTC +1 in the UK at the moment, so it's 20 past midnight here. Do I download many airports? That Brad Woods asks. I've got a fair number. I didn't, in the early days I didn't, and I've ended up downloading loads. But part of the reason for that is, and I think I've mentioned this when I've reviewed airports, I've got a relationship now because of the work I put in doing reviews and stuff. Orbex quite often give me airports to present on the channel, and so do InnyBuilds. So I get essentially free access to them, and while that sounds fun, I have to put the hours in making the videos to show their airports, as a courtesy for them giving me them, so I don't mind doing it. But it is quite difficult sometimes to cook up some sort of route that involves one of their airports to show one off if they've just released one, for example. I don't really have any favourite places to fly around the world though, so I really don't mind where I fly. I tend to fly all over the place. The only reason I fly so often in the US is because I fly late at night and it's daylight hours, and I know there's a big audience in the US that might be watching and might be from those places. Do I have any insider knowledge of the fly-by-wire A380? Nope. Don't know a thing about it. I think the fly-by-wire group, they've got some professional pilots among their ranks, so they don't tend to, as far as I'm aware, they don't work with the community, and you remember they're all volunteers themselves. So they're not like a commercial organisation that's going to go and reach out. They're not going to have people like a community to go and reach out. They'll just have people that are volunteering within their ranks most of the time. I quite often get asked by developers of smaller aeroplanes if I want to take an early look at their aeroplanes, and the people that made the MD-11 did actually reach out to me during development, but I guess they just got too busy to involve too many people, so I think they only gave it out in the same way that PNDG do to the professional pilots. So you tend to find with the big complicated jets that the professional airline pilots get early access because they will be actively helping them often, I would imagine, during development and pointing out small details, things that might be a little bit wrong or that need correcting, which is obviously a fantastic thing for them to do and to be able to help in that way. I'm more fascinated in the systems on the airplanes, but that's a function of my job, I guess. I'm a software developer in the real world on corporate systems. So how things work is kind of what fascinates me. Which is why I like programming up the FMCs and, understanding how the systems work around the airplane. It is fascinating looking at all the different aeroplanes that have come out, so you get to see the progression in the accurately modelled ones over time. So you get like the MD-80 family, and then you get this, and then you get the Airbus, and alongside them you get the Boeing 737s and so on, and you see the progression of how things were evolved, of how ideas were copied. It's really interesting. Let's have a look at the map, because someone's just said, Titled Racer says, Nashville to Jacksonville, you're probably routing not far from me in Knoxville. Let's go and have a look on the map. So if we change the map to world map and get rid of this, we are going to go... Now, this isn't the best way to see this. Let's go and open LittleNavMap, because it gives us the Google map. So, wait a moment, so I'll just tidy this up. We'll go... We're on the route. So if we remove some of the airports and the nav aids and things from the map, we can see exactly where we're going to pass by. So Huntsville, Chattanooga, Atlanta. There's Nashville, Jacksonville, Tallahassee over there. Yeah, so we may well have flown over very near you. We get rid of that for the moment. Actually, no, I'll leave the browser open, because it gives us the view of the Simbrief plan. So yeah, we've got a bit of a wait now. So how far have we got until top of descent? About 150 miles, 140 miles, something like that. So if we decrease this, you can see it there. Yeah, about 150 miles out from top of descent. Let's have a look at the modes in the FMC then. So we've got the flight plan. What does the progress screen show then? So it shows next waypoint, shows some basic stats, and it shows destination. Oh, okay, so we got distance to go. So on the flight plan page, do we get to see... So there's top of descent. It doesn't give us... So we've got estimated time. Is that overhead? And you got... Is that... Yeah, I'm not going to guess what the acronyms are. Should we see if... Oh, there's no weather to see, is there, though? I was going to say, should we see if the weather radar works? I've not played with any of these systems yet. So it's saying over here, weather radar is off. And it's not on the EFIS panel up here. So is it down here? Range 160, tilt 0. I'm guessing it will just use the flight simulator weather, but there's nothing to see, is there? So it's not going to pick anything up. So we may as well turn it off. It's interesting, some of the modes this has got, so you can put TCAS on, but it takes away the navigation display when you do that. I've not been near any aircraft in the air to know yet if they get mixed in with the map view. so you can show waypoints. And there they are, whizzing past. VORs, NDBs, airports, apparently there's none nearby. Data. So if we would show that and... No, maybe. I was hoping that was going to show us something. Ah, traffic would show the mixed mode, okay. It's cool though, isn't it? There is eCam buttons down here on the pedestal, so if we keep half an eye on the screens up here, I think it goes onto this one. So if we show engines, which it's showing at the moment obviously, and then we've got... What have we got? Hydraulics. Electrical systems. The air systems. That's very cool, isn't it? Shows you all the cabin environmental control systems. Fuel systems. What's ND? Okay, no display. The consequences. Okay, and status. What's in MISC? Nothing. Config. Okay, that's just the wheels. So if we go back to engines, we get the default display, the same as this one. So something I have read about, because I couldn't see an obvious way of switching off the auto throttle. So I think you just disengage the AFS override over here, so automatic flight system. So if you are coming in on manual and you want to control the throttle yourself, you have to pull the automatic flight system switches down. The symbology is very different on the head-up display. Sorry, not on head-up display, on the primary flight display than we're used to in other aircraft. It has very, very different symbols, you know, reflecting what mode it's in or whatever. Should we increase the range on that again? So we see top of descent is coming. So, to get this to do a profile descent, we should... It's holding at 39,000 feet at the moment. So if we go and have a look at the approach chart. So we're just coming in towards Jacksonville now. Take no notice of the estimated descent. It actually would be better to look at Navigraph. I haven't got a profile in LittleNavMap for the aircraft performance, so it's going to be wildly wrong. I wanted to just go and look at the approach to see if we got what the altitude restrictions are. So yeah, between 19 and 24,000 feet at Iltec on the way in, between 28,000 and 25,000 at Dutchy. Okay. But then on the, we can just go for the minimum, so we'll go for 4,000 feet immediately. So when we get anywhere near the top of descent, we'll go for 4,000. We could do it now. It won't start descending until it needs to, if that makes sense. There's not much to do at the moment, is there? I was going to make a coffee, wasn't I? So I've got 80 miles to go make a coffee. I'll be back in a minute. Scenery's amazing, isn't it, in Flight Sim? So where actually are we? So we're over Georgia now. Just passed over Atlanta. So if we look behind ourselves, can we still see Atlanta? No, it's quite a way back. I guess that's the city down there, isn't it? We are ripping along. We could use the drone camera and go and have a slow pan around the aircraft while we're flying along. I'll just quickly have a look. How far away from top of descent? We're nearly there. Or are we? Oh no, it's underneath that waypoint, that's fine. So just to pass some time. The attention to detail in these aeroplanes always amazes me. They're so good. There's those tiny little details, like, that's just insane, isn't it? I wonder what the reasoning is for those lumps. I'm presuming they're just to get rid of static, I'm not sure. Or they may be vanes to measure something. These have the same deal. Interesting. That looks like an anomaly of some kind. Apparently it has no crew in it. That may be something I've done in the settings, of course. Static wicks, okay. Just reading the live stream comments there of somebody telling me what those were. But yeah, I wonder, with it being static wicks, I wonder what the lumps are on them. I wonder how that design works from a physics point of view. It's very good, isn't it? Okay, enough with the drone camera. Where are we? We are almost at top of descent, so we're going to go and
Altitude.
notice it's still holding at 39,000, but we're going to do profile to 4,000. It's amazing how much this aircraft has pre-configured. Oh, sorry, automated, I should say. So when we pass through top of descent, the aeroplane should start following the profile down. Obviously, I'll be ready with the spoilers in case we need to intervene to assist it. And you can see some of the rest of the route appearing now. Aha, so Scott has the answer. The on those static wicks, there's usually a small wire sticking out between the lumps. The lumps are there basically to protect the wire from someone knocking it off. Interesting. I love the detail they've gone to in some of these things. Should we move around the cockpit? Well, we've got a couple of moments. Let's go and have a look. Go right up next to some of these switches and have a look in detail at them. That's impressive, isn't it? Even down to the screw heads. And you can see the resolution on the screens. Yeah, you can see, unfortunately if you get too close to this you can see polygons on it, but we're being hypercritical here, aren't we? And obviously you get the brigade who will go right down into the floor and be looking around to see if there's any wiring. You know, looking for things modelled where you wouldn't be able to see them from a normal viewpoint. So yeah, they have got some wiring, look, but it's not really textured, so it is there. And you've even got clips holding the wires. Oh my word. Anyway, one of the other aircraft that came out a while ago had an Easter egg joke in it. In one of the stowage holds at the back of the cockpit, I think it was over here. There's a floppy disk in the back of the. If you knelt down on the floor and looked through a hole, there was a floppy disk at the back of the cupboard. And the floppy disk had secret written on it, and it was a joke, an in-joke about the FS Labs Airbus that came out for Prepare 3D, and it had malware, or they claimed it was to stop piracy, but there was a piece of malware sent with the aeroplane that harvested your passwords from your browser and sent them all to their servers. So if we go and have a look behind, or before we go and nose around, so we should see this start descending any moment. So we've set 4,000 feet, and you can see profile to 4,000. So you should see the throttles react first. There goes the descent rate, and there goes the throttles. My word, it's coming down 3,000 feet a minute. Nearly, it's just levelling out a little bit more. So throttles are coming back and it's descending, and you can see the marker for the profile. So if you know if you're above or below the profile, it's right there at the side of the navigation screen. So we'll leave that going, and let's go and have a little nose around, as we were saying. So see if there are any things that are. I can't imagine the breakers work, do they? I know they're on about updating it so the breakers will work, and so you'll be able to simulate failures by pulling breakers out all over the place. The cabin door does work, so you can do that and come through. So we've got quite a long way to descend yet, so I'm going to have a little nosy around while we're waiting. So we're going to look through the window. So yeah, even the cabin's been modelled really nicely. But they've not gone over the top, which is good, because otherwise it just murders the frame rate. Oh, have they yeah, they've even numbered them, look. Which is insane to me, they'd even bother. Okay. So, we're busy descending, we're down to 35,000 feet already. So let's go and get familiar with the standard terminal arrival route then. So we're heading towards, we need to be between 28 and 25. Actually no, that's not on our route. The first one on our route is Form B, between 13 and 10. Let's see if that matches what we can see in here. So no, this has actually got Dutchy then, and then there's Form B down there, above 10,000. So Iltec at 190, Dutchy above 25, which is correct. It's a shame. I think, just reading Scott's comment there about autopilot, the inflatable pilot from Airplane. I thought it was on FlightSim.2. I thought you could do that. I thought somebody had made an alternate pilot that you could install into the aeroplane. I may be wrong. Okay, so you can see the airfield's coming. It's getting a bit cluttered, so I'm going to increase the range on this. Oh no, decrease, I mean, sorry. The opposite. So at the moment we have a bit of a headwind, a bit of a crosswind. Nothing compared to what you can experience. Sometimes at altitude you can get 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's actually not unusual at all. It'll be interesting to see if this will pick up the ILS. Should we go program that in now actually? Let's go and do that. So we want the ILS is 110.3, 257 degrees. So if we come down here, nav radios. So 110.3 and 257. Localizer only. I wonder if we can change that. So that means we're not going to get glide slope. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if that's anything about the settings in the tablet. Let's go and have a look. Options. Weight, temperature, allowed hardware, automatic seatbelts, IRS. I put that on instant, by the way, so we didn't have to wait for 10 minutes on the ground. Manpads defense system, hidden Simbrief username, Hoppy, pause at top of descent. I guess that's there so you can do long routes and go out and do shopping or something. So if we look at the stars, we want the KBNA. Where are we going again? KJX. And it's the Odia 1. Yeah, so Odia is going to be the one across the top, isn't it? Because it comes through Nana. Anyway, so it didn't have the setting in there that I was wondering about. Wouldn't it be cool if you could pull this book out and flick through it? look through the standard procedures. Okay, we're getting there. 25,000 feet. So looking at the targets on the flight plan, it's trying to get to ILTEC for above 190, so it's way above. We're still on, or we're slightly over target. Not by much. So we'll only intervene if we absolutely have to. We've got lots of room to get down to the desired altitude. Yeah, look, it's just correcting now. So Michael Duncan says Jacksonville is near where he grew up. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating. So KJAX, Jacksonville International Airport. So I don't know if anybody knows you can do this. If you go to Google Maps, so if I go to maps.google and I type in Jacksonville, and we go and find the airport, which is somewhere up on this side of the... there it is. And if we put this onto... yeah, they got it in 3D. So this is what I wanted to show you. So I'm not sure, not everybody knows you can do this. If you hold the Alt key down on your keyboard when you're in Google Maps in satellite view, you can, no, was it hold or control? It's control key, sorry. You hold the control key down, you can pan it around in 3D. And if things are rendered in 3D, you will see them in 3D. It's quite cool, isn't it? And the closer you get, the higher the rendering quality becomes. There's even an aeroplane on the ground over there, look. It's not wonderful at doing fine details, but it's better than you would think it should be, than it has any right to be. It's quite scary that you can do that. Even though to people's cars in the car park, look, the resolution they're working at now for this is ridiculous. Anyway, just a point of interest there. Let's go and have a look at our aeroplane and see how it's doing. So we're down through 18,000 feet. We can go to the local barometric pressure of the destination airfield. So we'll open the airport up, go to the weather. We want to change barometric pressure to 2994. So baro set 2994, and do the same on the other side. 2994. So we didn't really have to do much at all. So you can see here that the vectors extend out. That's that control glitch again. That's my machine. That's nothing to do with the aeroplane. So you can see the vectors extend out. So we'll go to heading mode at that point. So what direction will that be when that happens? Is it in LittleNavMap? Because that will give us the bearing, won't it? 77 degrees. So let's go... we can't, can we? Not while it's in profile mode. This is the problem with all these integrated controls. If we had an old-fashioned HSI, we could pre-arm or prepare the heading independently of the course we're flying. Maybe when we press it, it will go to the current heading we're on, if it's sensible. We'll find out, won't we? So we're still on target for the profile. Coming down to 13,000 feet. So at 10,000 feet we can put the landing lights on. And then we'll start managing deceleration as we get further down the track. So should we zoom in again? and have a look at Navigraph. So we should be getting fairly close. Here we come. So that we'll come down here, turn left, go the reciprocal, which will come into view in a moment. So it's going for... Is it going to decelerate yet? We're at 12,000 feet at the moment. That's interesting. Why is it holding at 12,000, 13 even? Oh, it's on there, look. Oh dear, wants to be at 13,000 feet. And now it's gone past it. It's going down for 7,000 at Kipple. There's no speed restrictions until it goes to Metal, which is after it gets past Kipple. So you'll see the dot on the indicated airspeed ribbon will drop away, and obviously the throttles will come back on their own. It's going well so far. So obviously you get localizer and glide slope show on the primary flight display, so it doesn't appear... Oh, it does have an approach mode here. Should we have a quick look at it? So, okay, that affects this. So just the navigation display. So we might as well just leave that on map mode for us, for our purposes, because we've got glide slope and localizer here anyway. So there you go. There's the flight directors. Look, kicking in to turn us left. The autopilot's following their instruction. We haven't set the barometric pressure on the backup attitude. Altimeter. Or altimeter, as someone in the US might say. Okay, speed's coming off. We can help it do that by throwing the spoilers out. Did we turn the... No, oh, we didn't disarm them, did we? Here's a point for you. You need to disarm this before you can use them. So we're just helping the aeroplane expedite slowing down. Now it'll say remove drag now, look. Now it's got close to the speed. Very cool. So we're coming down through 10,000 feet, so a little bit early, but we're going to go and put the landing lights on. So we won't do the nose until the gear's down. So we're going to look at the front, see them on there. So we're at target airspeed. The next target will be to get to 6,000 feet for Metal. So it's just coming down at 500 feet a minute at the moment. It'll probably descend a lot more quickly in a moment. We'll see. We've got lots of time though. It's just interesting to me to see these displays which are so different to anything else in the sim. It's no wonder it's taken them so long to develop this aeroplane. Okay, so it started descending. It's also accelerating, look, so the throttles didn't slow down quite quickly enough. They've gone to idle. So it's coming down for 6,000 at Metal. And it's still on profile. So it's saying add drag, so it's not being able to keep up, so we're doing that. So I'm adding more and more drag. I don't know if the amount of drag I add... There we go. So I gave it full spoilers and it shut up. It's because it's struggling to get down to 6,000 feet for Metal. So it's using the drag we've given it to establish a steeper descent rate. And the reason for that is because we have a tailwind. So Nigel says, hey Jonathan, hey Nigel. So I have no idea how this landing is going to go. We'll find out as we go. As I said, not landed it before. So we can we come off the spoilers yet? I think we're still a little bit behind. Yeah, you can see we're a little bit above the target on the profile because of that tailwind, I guess. Which is a shame that we're doing all this, because if we look outside, we've got the evening sun is going to make for quite a pretty landing, isn't it? So down to 5,800 feet, we're on our way down to 4,000 feet at Nana, which is right here, and then we're holding 4,000 until we turn in, I think. Well, we could probably, is there anything on the chart for the ILS about the final waypoints? 1,600 at Dalton, Weiger 2,000. Okay, so we can go for 2,000 feet. Which isn't just yet, but... So I'll come off the spoilers. Because we can manage extending before we turn if we want to. So we'll decrease the range. So yeah, we can get to... We want 2,000 for Weiger then. That's fine. So what we'll do is take that height off. So is this going to hold at 4,000? It's doing profile to 1402. But that's not what I've asked for. I've asked for 2,000. Profile 2,000. Interesting. Is it going to decelerate yet either? Or am I going to have to take over? It hasn't got any speed. Oh, it's got a target for... just before the discontinuity of 200 knots. So should we go manual on the speed now and take over with it? I guess we just dial the speed in and then it does what we want instead. We have to click it to do it. How does that work? So it's still doing the target here. It's ignoring it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with that, so I'll have to leave that for another day, I guess. And we're not descending either. The control glitch just happened again. Oh no, it's going for the speed. Okay, yeah, this is just doing the normal speed change for A approach. So let's help it do that. Let's throw the spoilers out. So if we go nav mode, we said it was 77 or 75 degrees. But if we just choose a degree, does that mean we're then using heading mode yet?
Stabilizer motion.
So if we were to choose a slightly different angle, will the air... is the flight director responding to that? It is, isn't it? So we could use vertical speed then to come down to 2,000 feet. do that at 1,000 feet a minute. Go for the first stage of flaps as well, and it wants us to go to 150 knots straight away. So let's go and use this heading mode then to spin ourselves around on vectors. Is it going to take any notice, or am I going to hand fly this? Do I have to select it afterwards? Yeah, I don't know how to confirm it. So what I'm going to do is disable the autopilot. Why is the stick wobbling around?
Autopilot.
Right, then we have to press that. Let's get the gear down as well. So I'm just wondering, how far out are we? It doesn't like the ATS being off, does it? That's the automatic throttle system. So I've got manual control. And we could switch it back on. To be honest, I'm more interested in having a go at flying this myself. So we're at 2,000 feet. Thereabouts. We're a bit slow, but the target airspeed is 140 for the final approach, so we're in the ballpark. Just coming on to full flaps. It's a shame we don't appear to have ILS at all. Is it just because we're too far out? Let's go and double check those numbers. If we go and look on Nav Radio, we had 110.3, 257. 110.3, 257. Maybe we're just too far out to pick it up. You can see the runway out in front of us. It's a long way out yet. We're following the profile that was written on the chart, so. So we got a crosswind from the right, 7 knots across us. I'm just going to try and trim it now. I'm holding.
Stabilizer motion.
I'm holding quite a lot of elevator trim in.
Stabilizer motion.
I'm going to try and trim it back out.
Stabilizer motion. Stabilizer motion.
That's better. We haven't put the nose landing light on, have we? Go and do that. I've got it trimmed down so it's flying along pretty happily. As it is, it's a little bit slow. Well, I say it's slow. We're not as slow as the target, which is just above stall speed, so I don't really want to go that slow. We're off to the left. It's a shame we have no localizer in glide slope. So we're 10 miles out, just coming up. They may still come on. Depends how strong the signal is from them. So just getting back on towards the centre line. It looks like this might be a visual landing. Obviously, if you have time to look at the charts, you can target airspeeds and altitudes at distances to know if you're on plan or not. It looks like I'm going to be doing this manually. It's funny, isn't it, how it really doesn't like... Can we get rid of that warning by clicking this again? No, it's just going to keep bleating at us all the way in by the look of it. It's designed to run on an automated system, and it doesn't like you not doing it. So we're about to get a sunset landing. Should we put head tracking on? Very cool. Oh, we're getting a bit slow. Just edging the throttles forwards. Maintaining the same kind of attitude. The wind is almost gone now. Got a strong headwind. So we're pretty much on speed. That's the inner marker. I'd love to know why the ILS hasn't come on there. I ought to be focusing on the runway, but I want to have a look around at the scenery. Okay, we have puppy lights now, so we're too high. So we can use the puppy lights to judge our approach, which is great. There we go. And we're on the correct approach path now.
500.
And now we're too low. And now we're correct again. It's the first time I've landed it, so you'll forgive me if I'm hunting around a little bit.
Minimum 200.
Too high.
100.
Way too high.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10,
to a high-speed exit here. Okay, so flaps and spoilers can come off, and the majority of the lights can come off, and we'll go over to the terminal. So, yeah, interesting that we had no ILS. That's something obviously to look into. It was definitely tuned into the correct frequency, and I've done a Navigraph update, so I don't know what's going on with that. On the way in, we never turned the APU off, did we? Or maybe we did. I'm just looking. So if we go and put the APU power to on, it will fire up while we're coming in, but obviously we can use auxiliary power anyway. Where should we go park? Then this side somewhere. Because this is a default airport, it hasn't got the full ground markings, so we can kind of make it up as we go along. It hasn't got all the taxiways marked in fully. Okay, so parking brake can come on, turn the head tracking off. We should have APU is now available, so it will transfer over to it automatically, so we should be able to just kill the engines. And then start turning things off around the airplane. So the nav system can come off. The ignition system can come off. When I was playing around learning the aeroplane, if I turned the ignition off even when the engines were running, a light came on telling me that it wasn't on. So whether it should have continuous ignition, I guess it does. Did we not put the lav lights on? Did I miss that on the checklist? I must have done, I suppose. Emergency lights can come off. Taxi light can come off. Just looking to see what else we need to do. Not much really. Engines are already shut down. There was a lot of switches in the cockpit which we should probably put back to their default settings, like the lights, but I'm not going to bother. So yeah, literally we can just go and turn the APU off now. And then go and turn the battery off and we'll go cold and dark. That's interesting, they're holding charge for a while. I wonder if they take a few seconds to switch off or if that's a bug. I know the MCP can hold charge for ages. Yeah, that might be a bug, you know. The other thing we could do, obviously, is plug the tablet back in and go to, now we're on the ground, we should be able to go to Services, connect the GPU, put the wheel chocks in place. I don't think we can summon the jet bridge from inside the tablet. We can open doors, though. Anyway, it's getting late. And I've completed the flight that I set out to do. So we've got the MD-11 onto the ground. That's interesting. I'm just reading the comment there about the nose gear. I wonder if they've accurately rendered that. The nose gear strut is at an angle rather than perpendicular to the ground, so when fully deflected the outer wheel comes off the ground. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. So, I guess there's everything to learn, isn't there? With these big complicated airplanes, it takes a few flights to kind of nail how it will behave. I was hoping to do ILS, but there we go. For some reason it didn't pick up a signal. Apparently there are some known bugs, and some of them do include ILS. So I saw it earlier where it, when I was playing around with the MFD while learning it, I plugged in an ILS and it immediately said no on the FMC. It said no glide slope, I think, or localizer only, I think it might have said. Anyway, so yeah, there's stuff to learn and maybe some bits and bobs of bugs for TFDi to sort out, but it's pretty good so far. I like it. It's good fun. Anyway, I'm leaving it there. See you soon.